Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin. A long way to go. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember to lock in the lower rate on the premium list. We only have a couple more days, so lock in the lower rate. You can find a link to that in the description below. You'll get access to how I'm navigating the markets, the weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the risk dashboard, and more. You can find a link to that in the description below. So, I've noticed a pattern among overly confident Bitcoin bulls, I guess. And, I'm a Bitcoin bull too. I just carry, I have a couple of panda bears next to me to keep me in check, right? To keep me in check. And when we follow the price of Bitcoin, we know that things can move up quickly. But that doesn't mean we're not playing in the sandbox anymore. Nothing has really changed. I mean, as far as I can tell, we're still putting in lower highs. Okay, I mean, no one that watches this channel, I doubt, is going to be getting out of bed for a $38,000 Bitcoin. So far, this was around 42K or just below it. This was around 40.5. This one was around 38. Or just above it, maybe 38.3. This one took us right up to around 38. So far, there has not been a shift back to the upside. So far, we have not had a relief rally. I know some people called this a relief rally. Hey, it's not a relief rally, guys. If we were discussing, okay, can we get a relief rally over here? We certainly can't say that a dump and then a pump to a value that was lower than this local top is a relief rally. It's not, okay? The trend has not changed. In fact, I mean, so far, things remain in a downtrend. And until that changes, I don't think there's any reason to shout from the rooftops that Bitcoin's about to go put in a new all-time high. Now, if we get above this, we still have a long way to go. I mean, this is just milestone one, right? This is just the first milestone. So milestone one is just getting past our short-term downtrend. Okay, what if we go look at other milestones? Okay, so another milestone to look at would be our 20-day, which we're below still. I mean, to get above that, it'd be 36,679. So obviously we could get above that without actually going back to the trend line here, but we're not even above the 20-day. So first of all, we're not above the 20-day, which is lower than this downtrend. Once we get above the 20-day, we have the 200-day estimated contend with, which is now at 42K. That's still something we got rejected out before. Okay, so not only are we in a downtrend, generally speaking, and I don't know if you guys want to draw it like this. And look at it like that, or if you would prefer to draw it like this and show like show it sort of having lower tops, but the bottoms more or less stay the same. But again, plenty of milestones. We got a long way to go, and I think if we get ahead of ourselves and we're not managing our expectations with this, again, I've told you guys for weeks now that we're likely not going to have a V-shaped recovery. We're just simply likely not going to see that. And you could argue like, well, what point can we say it's not a V-shaped recovery? I suppose if it went back up to 60K by the end of the month, then you could still get away with calling it a V-shaped recovery. Okay, so we're not gonna sound the siren quite yet on that, but I do see a longer consolidation phase for Bitcoin, not something that's going to immediately put a new all-time high. So I think we need to temper our expectations. I think that those that are constantly or hoping, if you're constantly hoping for that V-shaped recovery because you think, well, don't we need to get back on track to go to these crazy price predictions this year? Remember, this cycle will likely take longer than the last one, and so the consolidation phase probably will be longer than most people expect, but then the whole cycle as a whole will probably be longer than most people expect. So a long way to go. Got to break the 20-day, got to break the downtrend, got to break the 200-day. There's so many other milestones above that. We got to get above 50K. We got to get above the bull market support band. The 100 days at 50K, the 50 days at 45K. If you go look at the weekly moving averages, so let's go look at the weekly. The 20 week is all the way up here at 50 or 48 640, right, just below 49k. And we could have a relief rally potentially, right, that takes us back up to the 20 week, and we're still not necessarily out of the woods, because we got to get above that, go above it, hold it as support, and then continue on. And it's because the market, to me, the market seems relatively weak right now. Okay. It's appearing relatively weak. And one of the things I've mentioned before is, in a bull market, no one really cares about the good news, or no one cares about the bad news. And in a bear market, no one really cares about the good news. What's interesting now is, okay, we're below the 20 week SMA. Things are bearish. A government has now, said that Bitcoin's legal tender, and we're still at 35K. So again, when things are bullish, it's just that people don't care about the bad news. When things are bearish, it's just that the good news is like, okay, fine. El Salvador is accepting it as legal tender. Now, eventually, we'll get back on the right side of the 20 week. Eventually, that will happen. I'm confident that will happen. But I think it's more likely than not that we get above the 20 week, not at these levels, but at some lower levels. And at that point, when we get above it, then we can try to hold it as support. The likelihood of Bitcoin going back above the 20 week SMA in the next couple of weeks before it turns over, I think is relatively low. Okay. And then we would have to hold it as support. If that happens, then we're in for one hell of a ride for the rest of 2021. I just simply don't think it's going to happen, but we will remain somewhat flexible on that, because there's no reason to say anything definitively can't happen, because we know that Bitcoin can change sentiment on a dime. So we're going to remain flexible, but also realize that, hey, the pragmatic approach to this market would be to say Bitcoin's below the 20 week, altcoins are bearish. Bitcoin, when Bitcoin pumps, a lot of altcoins are still relatively weak. And this is just the phase of the cycle, right? It's just the phase of the cycle. Don't let your emotions on what you want to happen or what you think should happen cloud your judgment on what is happening. Okay, there's a big difference there. Remember, don't let your emotion, or don't let the data offend you. Okay, because you'll never offend the data. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Don't let the data offend you. Just see it for what it is, right? See it for what it is. Recognize that bearish times generally are better times to DCA into like if Bitcoin's bearish, it can be a better time to DCA a lot of times than when it's super bullish. Buying Bitcoin up here was definitely a lot worse than buying it here. If we go down lower, then you could implement some type of DCA strategy if you wanted to. But regardless, I just want people to remain grounded, because I see that anytime Bitcoin pumps like $2,000 or $3,000, all these crazy price predictions just start flooding YouTube, flooding Twitter and whatnot, and saying, all right, we're back on track. Who bought the dip? Let's take this one step at a time, because we have tons of milestones we have to get past. And right now, Bitcoin is still not putting in anything major. Again, so far, it's still continuing to put in lower highs. Once we get past this, then we can look at the other things. Until we're past that, who's getting out of bed for a $38,000 Bitcoin? If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember to check out the sale on the premium list if you want to know how I'm navigating these markets. Thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely subscribe. Click the bell icon to turn on your notifications, and I will see you next time. Bye.